The Ratsass podcast with Mojo Elliott is unedited, unfiltered, and uninhibited. Now on with the show.
From Hollywood, welcome to the Ratsass podcast with Mojo Elliott.
Spring has finally sprung. So how was your weekend? Is your March Madness bracket still intact? Or is it busted?
Oh, gives a rat's ass.
Yeah, mine too. From the Mojo Dojo on Malibu Lake off Mulholland and Kingdom Doom. Here we go with another titillating, action-packed adventure.
Let's do it.
Here's what's on tap on the rap. I have a question for James Carville. You know, the alligator-faced looking swamp demon that loves LSU and the Democrats. Elon Musk pissed me off last week, and then he turned around and did something to make me feel fuzzy again. Donald Trump did a bad thing I'll tell you about. And have you heard about the wildlife bridge from hell here in California? Well, you're about to. Another round of head trauma is on the way. We haven't done this one in a long time. It's called Spraying Your Brain. Stick around, it's coming up. Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including the Angry American and Bonk Bonk on the Head. That's what's happening today on the Ratsass podcast for Monday, March 23rd. Did I hear you say, oh boy, bonk, bonk on the head? Everybody loves this feature we started the first of the year. But hey, I do appreciate you pressing play and hanging out with us for a bit. Can you believe we are 1/3 through 2026 already? My God, put on the brakes. It's flying by way too fast. All right, gas prices. Way up here in Southern California. You've probably read the news. It's close to $7 a gallon in my neck of the woods. Inland, about 15 minutes from Zuma Beach, but until they get the gas prices back under $4.50 a gallon, because we do have a budget here on the podcast, believe it or not, I'm going to be doing the Ratsass podcast from my home studio. Fleabag and Puddin will be at their dojos, so we'll do this on FaceTime and using hand gestures, and there they go. With their favorite hand gesture. Yeah, here's a double barrel back at you, boys. Yeah, stick that up your keisters. Yeah, there's one for your mother and one for your father, too. All right. But anyway, I'm telling you this because things could get a little ass backwards here at times for me. So I ask that you please bear with us during these trying times. All right, I did pick up win number 12 on Radio Wars last week, beating WBGG in Miami, thanks to you. I am now 12-0. That's amazing to me. But this week, I faced the mighty KISW in Seattle. I have mad respect for this rock station, too. It's one of the best in America. You can stream it if you want to listen to it. KISW in Seattle. If you like to rock, they do it well. So this one's not going to be easy because we kind of think similar. So good luck with this one. But try to get me to 13-0, okay? See how you do. Go to ratsasspodcast.com for all the details on how to play Radio Wars. Now, I do have to read this email I got from Phil Carson in Boston, Mass. He said, I've been playing Radio Wars from week 1, and I've tried voting against you on purpose because I don't like you or your podcast.
Ooh, that one hurt.
He said, unfortunately, by trying to vote against you every week, I've ended up selecting you as the winner every single time. So nice job, mofo. He's calling me mofo. Oh, thank you for that, Phil. But he also said, I'll keep trying to vote against you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's Honky Mofo, by the way. Let's get into the rap today. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with who James Carville is. He's the guy who was famous for saying, it's the economy, stupid, and got Bill Clinton elected back in 1992. He worked as his political strategist. He went to LSU, always has the LSU garb on, the hat, the T-shirt, the sweatshirt that looks like it's been, under a Ford pickup for a few weeks before he puts it on. But yeah, he's proud of LSU. But he goes on social media, TV news, talk shows, and goes ballistic over Donald Trump. He's a very entertaining guy. So you know who he is now, right? But James, without him, let's give him some due here. We wouldn't have Monica's stained blue dress, and she would have never experienced having intercourse with a Gurkha Grand Reserve. That's the cigar from the Dominican Republic that Bill liked to roll up and smoke in the Oval Office, among other things. And by the way, what does something cigar smokers say that sounds dirty, but it's not? Let me get the tip nice and juicy. Now, first off, James Creepiness, as if that wasn't creepy, but he has earned the name Delta Telkai nickname here of Carnival. It's a little tweak on his last name, but I think it fits because he's nuts. Yeah, James Carnival. So when you hear us speak of James Carnival, you'll know who we mean. But I do have one question that really concerns me about James when he dies. I mean, where are they going to bury this guy's ass? Where? Because there isn't a graveyard in America where the deceased won't jump up and say, hey, don't you dare bury that turd next to me. All right, if you caught the last episode of Rat's Ass Podcast, I went off on Elon Musk and his X platform because they suspended me for something I posted, an observation. Now, on Friday, this numbnut impressed me because he offered to pick up the salaries for the TSA workers who aren't getting paid. You know, he took me one way and took me back the other way. Pissed me off, and then he says, oh, what a nice guy. What a nice billionaire Elon Musk is. Especially how he was treated, you know, early on when Trump was elected. He's still willing to step up and, you know, ante up to pay these TSA workers. But it's highly unlikely, though, that Musk will be allowed to do this because it turns out federal law prohibits government employees from receiving outside compensation for their duties. But it's all about the gesture. That's what got to me. Knowing that he made that gesture, was willing to part with the money. Sometimes the gesture is what works, you know, because he made the offer. Nobody else stepped up and did that, did they? So if you're keeping score, Elon Musk won, other billionaires, nothing. Now, this is how a free society is supposed to work, though, my friends. Billionaires take the risks, and then when they're rewarded for those risks, typically they give generously to help others in need. It makes them feel better about being successful. Yeah. Now, the Democrats, the game they like to play is, you know, for us in the cameras, they demonize billionaires on one hand. Then on the other hand, they're like, oh, give me some money so I can run for office. That's how they play the game. Then they want to tax the rest of us so they can spend it on whatever the hell they want. And that just kills everybody's spirit about wanting to give back. That's what your Democrats do for you. You know, it's never a good idea to speak bad of the dead, but President Trump did. He said he was glad Robert Mueller, who investigated him for the Russiagate scandal, he said, I'm glad he's dead. And the Democrats and social media were off to the races over the weekend, bashing him for being an evil person, for speaking of a dead man that way. Now, I've said this a gazillion times, maybe a gazillion and one. I don't always agree with what Donald Trump does, but in this case, he had his reasons, and some good ones, too, if you followed the story. Okay? If you didn't follow the story, I get why you're like going, oh, he's an evil person. But Mueller and that whole Russiagate thing that was false, oh, that was evil. That was on all of us, as well as Donald Trump. Okay, now, truthfully, I've had the same feelings about people myself. And if you say you never have, I'm going to stand up and say, you're lying to me. You know you have. But still, there are times when you have to bite your tongue. You have to know, you have to read the room, so to speak, especially when American families are losing loved ones during a time of battle. I feel like this is one of those times where Trump should have just said, you know, we're going to let this one ride. Maybe I'll put it in a book. That's what he should have done. He's going to write a memoir called The Donald Duck after he's out of office. I'm telling you, he will. That's when he probably should have put it in a book. But on the other hand, this is who Trump has always been. He's a New Yorker. And every New Yorker I've ever met in my life has absolutely no filter. You love them because they have no filter, and you hate them because they have no filter. But this is what most people don't understand about him. What you see is what you get, and if you cross them, boy, you get it good. And to be honest with you, if you've listened to this podcast, you might have noticed I have no filter. Okay, I think Donald's knocking on the age of 80, and it just comes with age. The older you get, the less you give a real rat's ass about other people's feelings. You really do. I'm just being honest with you. In fact, that's a double patty truth burger for you with cheese and onions all over it. Just the way it is. All right, you may not have heard about the Wildlife Bridge from Hell. Maybe you have. It's been on the news. But it's another one of slumlord California Governor Gavin Newsom's pet projects that has been overfunded and not completed. In other words, some politicians and their pals got rich off taxpayers, and we were left with an eyesore. Now, this bridge is close to where I call home. I have firsthand experience with it. And when they finish it, if they ever do, it's going to look pretty spectacular. I mean, it's in a rough area. It's on a curve. Makes driving through kind of challenging sometimes. But I'm going to save you some time here. I wrote a nice piece on it on the blog, on our Facebook page, if you want to read a nice crafted piece. Because I went to some of the early meetings before they built this thing, before they broke ground, and really got the background behind it. I was against it immediately when I heard the price tag. But when you hear the whole story, it's not just the Butterfly Bridge, as the media is calling it. They're doing it to demonize Newsom, which they should. But if you're curious about the facts, go ahead and check it out at ratsasspodcast.com. Fleabag is texting me something here real quick. He's waving his arms like, stop the presses. All right, Fleabag, what you got? Send it to me. This is what I mean when I said things could get a little bass-ackwards here. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Let's see. It says LA plans upgrade to Griffith Park pool for $40 million, includes gender-neutral dressing rooms. Oh, God. Really, $40 million for a pool renovation in Griffith Park. You know, that's like putting a brand new golden toilet in the middle of a condemned building, by the way. But the Democrats were at a deficit. They just love to spend. And you know what happens next? Cost overruns. Not done on time. We got to raise city taxes on this. God damn it. That's where this is headed. Oh, these Democrats. God, I hate them. This is what they do every single time. Well, we're at a deficit. What can we spend $40 million on? How about putting a nice golden toilet in the middle of a slumlord building? Where's my blood pressure medication? My God. Where's my Tylenol? Did you ever pick me up the Tylenol, Fleabag? My God. All right, well, I'm looking for my Tylenol. Let's see what's grinding the angry Americans' gears today. This is Tim Kramer.
Iran has been at war with the United States for 47 years. If you ask anybody with inside the Iranian regime if they're at war with the U.S., they say yes. So, no, we are not starting a war with Iran. We're ending one. And the moment that happens, well, we're going to see peace in the Middle East. Why? Because Iran is the one funding everything. They're the George Soros of the Middle East.
But wait, there's more.
What he says.
It's crazy how people don't need no proof to believe a lie, but they demand endless proof from you to believe the truth.
Take, for example, the people who will use a picture of Trump standing next to Epstein in a nightclub and say, see, he's a sexual predator. He's hanging out with Epstein. And totally disregard the picture of Bill Clinton on Epstein's Island swimming in the same pool as a sexual assault survivor. Those kind of people.
Let's see if this boy grew some brass balls over the weekend. Here's Mojo Elliott with his spin on sports on the rack.
Why brass when you've got diamonds, baby? All right, it's official. Every March Madness bracket entry has been busted. Overall, I'm 38-14 picking games during the March Madness. That's good for 73% for a sport I don't even watch anymore, to be honest with you. I haven't watched one single college basketball game this year, including March Madness, which, God, I used to love March Madness. I was always so passionate about it. So what changed with me? I know you're asking that question. Conference realignment that destroyed a lot of rivalries when I grew up, and that player portal that basically reloads teams every year. You don't get to know players anymore. You know, outside of the ones that stick around to get paid. I mean, this goes for football too. It's not just basketball, it's football, it's everything. It's all college sports. So I have little to no interest for college sports anymore. You know, I mean, to give you an example, if I'm an Arizona Wildcat, okay, why do I give a rat's ass about playing Cincinnati or West Virginia? And the same if I'm a school from Texas or Oklahoma or Utah. Why do I care about playing Cincinnati or West Virginia? In the Big Ten, why should I care about UCLA or USC playing Maryland or frickin' Rutgers, for crying out loud? See, it's all screwed up. You're basically forced to root for the logo, and that's about it. Who are these guys? I have no idea, but I heard the recruitment is great for this year. You got a brand new roster every single year, so you have no idea if the team's going to be better or not. It makes it a little difficult to bet money. You know, I think in those early weeks, people get shafted a little bit, but, you know, the biggest schools get the biggest names and the best players. Everybody else gets the crumbs, and this is why the top 10, top 12 that are going to get in the playoffs from this point forward are going to be the same schools jockeying for the same playoff spots. Yeah, so like I said, you're locked in for just rooting for the school logo at that point. But look, the bottom line is I basically outgrew college sports. There's a whole new generation who will never notice, won't care about how it is today. Could care less what it was like during my day in the sun. But the lesson here is this. Greed is not good. And it really, really does fuck up everything. And that's my spin on sports on the Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, I haven't done this one in a while. The name of the game is called Sprain Your Brain, and this question is designed to really make you think hard. So get ready, because I'm only going to read this to you once. You ready? Listen up. Sid Shady escaped from jail and headed towards the outskirts of town. While walking along a country road, he saw a police car speeding towards him. So Sid ran towards it for a short period of time, and then he fled into the woods. Why did Sid run towards the car first? Kick it around. I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
So, what do we do when people do some really stupid and say stupid stuff? Yeah, I want you to listen to what comedian podcaster Joe Rogan said about Erica Kirk.
I've heard Erica Kirk's got a dick. I've heard that one.
Whoa. Did you miss it?
I've heard Erica Kirk's got a dick. I've heard that one.
Whoa. He said he heard Erica Kirk has a dick. Now, we've all said and done some stupid stuff. I do it twice a week. But Joe, you know what? For that one, you deserve a bonk on the head for repeating it. And another one for being a dick. And a third one for being a total douchebag about it.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
Justin Timberlake's DUI video from where he was arrested for drinking while driving. The arresting officer's body cam was released on Friday, and during the arrest, apparently, Timberlake took issue with the paperwork. Looked down, and the officer put down that he was white, and Timberlake joked, what? You put down here that I was white? And the cop looked at him and he said, ooh, just kidding. I guess the cop didn't get the joke. Yeah, you got to take this stuff pretty seriously when you get pulled over, folks. They don't have a sense of humor. But what you didn't see was when they shut the door on Justin's cell, the cops were overheard saying, hey, watch out for cell block 7. There's a dick in the box. All right, by now, you've probably seen the video of Reacher star Alan Ritchson attacking his neighbor while Ritchson's kids watched. The incident happened because Richton's neighbor was revving his engine on his motorcycle early on Sunday morning. I imagine everybody's trying to get some nice and resting sleep, and then all of a sudden, yeah, ring, ding, 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 ring, ding, 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 ding. So this led to, some looks out the window, some middle fingers flying, and bada bing, bada boom, fisticuffs ensued. Let's just say Richton went full metal reacher on his neighbor's ass and dented his head pretty good. Police are investigating the incident. No arrests have been made yet. But man, it's been said more wars have been started to fight religion. But my guess is more fistfights have occurred thanks to the universal gesture of the middle finger. And there they go again, giving me the middle finger again. There you go, guys. You like that? Huh? My fingers are bigger than yours. All right, Sydney Sweeney has white liberal women bouncing off the walls again due to her new pics promoting her new lingerie line, Siren. The best way I can describe the photos is to say, Sydney uses roses and some other props to cover certain parts of her anatomy that men like to, would like maybe the motorboat a little bit, and perform the actual act of Oosh Daddy with. Yeah. But I got to tell you, this Siren is extremely sexy stuff, guys. And at this point, gentlemen, if you buy your woman Victoria's Secret, that's like taking her to McDonald's to celebrate your anniversary. Yeah, you got to go with the stuff women want. They want Siren right now. All right, Kim Kardashian was seen stepping out with Formula One race car driver Lewis Hamilton in Tokyo, sparking romance rumors. You know why? They were seen walking arm in arm. And that's all it takes in Hollywood these days. Ooh, look, they're walking arm in arm. They're doing Oosh Daddy action, I bet you. But to the person who asked, what will Kim do when she runs out of rappers and NBA players? I think we know now that Kim has the need for speed. And that is a salacious slice of celebrity cheese for you.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, you can send your questions, comments, and observations to my producer, Fleabag, and his buddy Puddin', at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and anything goes. The more outrageous and salacious, the better, and it's totally impossible to offend me, by the way. Just bring it all on. All right, Todd B. in Biloxi, Mississippi said, I just want to say that your religious beliefs are just as whacked as your political ones. I urge you to seek help. Well, obviously you've listened to the show, Todd, to know I'm beyond help, man. You know this. All right, Alyssa Q, Flagstaff, Arizona. Would you consider yourself a people person? A people person. You know, being a morning personality on the radio for 20 years, I had to be a people person. I think I faked it a lot as I look back. I was very good at it. But now I don't think I am a people person, to be honest with you. The reality is I have a very small circle of friends, and I prefer spending most of my time alone, believe it or not. You know, I prep for the show quite a bit. Like to read, like to be in my quiet moments. You know, I've had my day where I've had to deal with people. I don't have to anymore, you know, so I choose not to. So I would say, at least now, I'm not a people person. Nas P., Reno, Nevada. Have you ever regretted voting for Trump? Well, you're assuming I voted for Trump. No, I did all 3 times. I admit it. I don't agree with everything Trump does, Nas, but I've never regretted the vote. But you know when I will regret it, though? If the Republicans blow it and lose it in the midterms. And we have to deal with the radicalized Democrats again. I mean, can you imagine Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House? He's the guy who acts like he's conducting an orchestra when he talks. He has all those broken sentences because he listens to himself talk while he speaks. And is flailing his arms and his fingers all over the place. I'm like, can you imagine seeing that every damn day on the news? I mean, he makes me want to play 6-bullet Russian roulette. That's when I'm going to regret it. Brittany C., Boulder, Colorado. Okay, I'm curious as to why you waited until you were 18 to ask a girl out on a date. Okay, this comes from last week's podcast where I did a contest called Liar, Liar, and it's true. I didn't ask a girl out on a date until I was 18 years old. You see, my youngest sister, who was 10 years older than me, used to coach me. And she used to point out, see, watch all of your friends and watch all of these guys are going to take these girls out on dates. They're going to buy them, you know, meals. They might buy them jewelry, something like that, take them out to a movie. And then a week later, they dump them and move on. Because what girls like to do is they like to try each guy out while other guys pay for them until they find the guy they want to lasso. So her advice to me was just hang out, make out, and save your money. And that's what I did. And then when I turned 18, my senior year of high school, I was a busy guy, man. I was working 3 part-time jobs, playing sports, and one of those jobs was as a club night DJ. Yeah, used to spin the records. But I met this girl one night, and she was, my God, she was smoking hot. Oh, yeah, you know how that goes, right, guys? You're just sitting there minding your own business, and there she walks by, and there you go, and you're just knocked out. So I did. I asked her out. And forgot my sister's advice. So we went to dinner, went to a movie, and found out we had absolutely nothing in common, and that's where it ended. And yada, yada, yada. I never saw her again, and can't even recall her name. And she was also, as I recall, geographically undesirable, too. But there you go. Samuel K., Albuquerque, New Mexico. I met this really cool chick a week ago, and we got along great. I waited the standard 48 hours before calling her to ask her out, and I got no response. Should I wait and move on if she doesn't reach out, or try again? You know, sometimes, Sam, no response is a response. She may have had second thoughts, or she's playing a little game of cat and mouse to see if you'll chase her. Now, hear me loud and clear when I tell you this one, guys. Never, ever chase women. Never. Gina M., Odessa, Texas. What is the worst thing someone can do to another person at the end of a relationship? Gina, I've been married 40 years. I have no idea. I mean, there are so many things that come to mind. Some evil, some not. But I'm going to have to say probably, you know, I think disappearing.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
Remember how I said things could get bass-ackwards at times? That's what you call hitting the wrong button. Here's what happens when you hit the right one.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, like I said, we're playing Sprain Your Brain. Haven't done this one in a while. The question is, Sid Shady escaped from jail and headed toward the outskirts of town. While walking along a country road, he saw a police car speeding towards him. Sid ran towards the car for a short period of time and then fled into the woods. Why did Sid run towards the car? Have you got it? All right, the answer is, Sid was walking across a bridge when he ran towards the police car to get off the bridge before turning into the woods. If that's what you guessed, congratulations.
Yeah,
you got it right. But if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, it's time for me to fly. I'm going to be teaching a group of teenagers today how to siphon gasoline with a garden hose. Then again, maybe I'm not. But first, Is this real or is it riffraff? Did you know jellyfish are immortal? They don't age, and they will never die unless they're killed. Alexa, is this real or is it riffraff?
Hold on to your lug nuts, Mojo, because this one is real.
Really? Okay, so tell me, what happens if somebody eats a jellyfish?
Why don't you eat one and find out?
That's okay. The only jelly I eat is Schmuckers.
Why don't you eat one and find out?
No, I'm not going to do it. I just said, I eat Schmuckers. That's it. No jellyfish.
Aw, is little Mojo scared to try an itsy-bitsy teeny-weeny jellyfish?
No, eating a jellyfish until I know what happens when you do makes absolutely no goddamn sense. Plus, I think they'd be a little squishy.
You mean like that thing in your pants?
All right, that's it. You're done. Get out. Take a hike. Bye-bye.
Get the fuck out!
God, it's Monday. Welcome to Rat Nation. Brian Kennedy of Appleton, Wisconsin. Lacey Morrison in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Randy Baxter in Norman, Oklahoma. Chip Van Camp in Yakima, Washington. And Duke Hayes in Riverside, California. Boy, there's a name for you. Duke Hayes, third baseman. Riverside Rascals. All right, that one hurt. And to listeners around the world. Today, I thought I'd just mention the top 10 countries besides the divided states that press play to hear the Rat's Ass podcast. So shout outs to Canada, the UK, Australia, Ireland, Brazil, France, Germany, Sweden, New Zealand, and India. I really do appreciate the ear time.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards,
All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Go to ratsasspodcast.com to visit our hub and listen to previous episodes. Read the blog. It's loaded with lots of hot topicality. Watch Rat's Ass Rock TV. Join the mischief at Rat Nation and connect with us on the socials. We'll do this again on Thursday, March 26th. Take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast in association with the Oz Podcast Group.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.